So listen, before we start our presentation, I always like to do a disclaimer because I don't want to end up in a court getting sued for some stuff that you didn't do your due diligence on. Give me some hearts, guys. Give me some hearts. Let me know if you're liking it. Give me your honest feedback in the comments and let me know what you think about everything. So we're going to be talking about finding the perfect seller, right? But before then, I want to say the content of this presentation is tended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only, and that you should take independent financial advice from a professional and independently research and verify information presented in this presentation. Antoine Campbell, Novak Capital, in V1 Training and Marketing is not liable for any advice given. So listen. Wholesaling real estate is when a real estate wholesaler puts a distressed home under contract with the intent to sign the contract to another buyer. Instead, they market the home to potential buyers for a higher price than they currently have it under contract for. Some people don't know that, and it's okay. So listen, we're going to be talking about the perfect seller. You should be taking notes of this. This right here is the whole entire presentation, right? We're going to be talking about what is the perfect seller profile, and why is this important. So the perfect seller profile is a person or homeowner that's over the age of 50 years old. Their income is less than $35,000 a year. Their credit score is less than 550. And here's the secret sauce that no one's really telling people about. They must have two motivational pain points from even the house and personal. And what I mean by the house is the tenants trash the house, right? The house is in pre-foreclosure. The house needs a lot of work, right? The house needs foundation work. You get what I'm saying? Personal. They're facing health issues. They lost their job. They're going through a terrible divorce. They're a widow. If you can get one of each inside of that motivational stack, there you have it, my friends. You have an ultimate hybrid motivated seller. And you want to ideally have at least 8 years of ownership. Where could you get a list like this from? Lists like this are not bought, they are made. They are fine-tuned and crafted. We talked about this in my Virtual Wholesaler A to Z course, and we showed you exactly how to take several smaller lists and combine them, and thank God for PropStream. If you don't have PropStream, get PropStream, because then you can take this data and shove it into the list automator and just only extract high equity leads. So like I said, we use PropStream to create this hybrid stack. We call it hybrid because it's a mixture of multiple sources of data. So the basic wholesaling formulas to come up with, with your offers and things, it's the 70% rule, ladies and gentlemen. 70% minus repairs, minus assignment fee equals your maximum allowable offer. And that's what we basically do. That's our bread and butter. But our virtual rule, some of you on here may be looking to switch over to virtual wholesaling, is what we use and what we call investor comps. People who bought properties, and we use the ARV to determine the offer price. Example, if I get a deal, or I get a lead to come in, and I'm looking to see what could I offer, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check PropStream. I'm going to check Zillow, and I'm going to check Redfin to see what people are buying as-is properties for with cash. And that's the investor rule. And then we're going to make an offer similar to that. And then when we lock it up, we're going to take them same buyers, and we're going to call them and say, hey, listen, I got a property similar to the one you just bought 3 months ago, right around the same price point. Are you interested? Can you take on more deals? Is your runway clear so you can buy more investment properties? These are some of the questions you should be asking your potential cash buyers. The way you know that they're cash buyers, they're going to relate to that. If you're talking to a daisy chain or a wholesaler, the first thing they're going to do is say, hey, give me 30 days to close. Give me 45 days to close. Let me talk to my partners. When you come across people like that, you want to really be cautious about that. So the cash flow rule, we talk about this in my acquisition management training. It's basically the annual income minus expense divided by return on investment minus repairs minus assignment fee equals maximum allowable offer. Do me a favor, take a screenshot of this. It's very common sense stuff. I promise you won't be disappointed. So, like I said earlier, there's two types of wholesaling strategies. You have virtual wholesaling. Virtual wholesaling is when you can focus on less competitive markets. That's why I like virtual wholesaling. I start off regular wholesaling in the DC area, and it's really tough. It's really competitive, and a lot of that stuff is dried up. You can do it from the comfort of your living room, right? As long as you got an internet connection. And then sometimes it may be hard to find buyers because you're not actually on the ground. Local wholesaler, it's easier to look at properties because you can just hop in your car, drive across town, voila. It's easier to show properties to buyers because you don't have to network and find somebody that you can trust. You can just go over there and do it yourself. And then competing with a lot of other investors in the hot market is, you're going to have a lot of other investors that you're competing with. So that's the only downside to that. So the no-nos of wholesaling, right? Write this down, ladies and gentlemen. Do not market a property you don't have under contract. And that's very important because at the end of the day, you don't want to piss some people off. There's some realtors out here that don't want to see wholesalers make money. There's people posting videos on YouTube about big wholesalers. There's people that's writing a board of realtors complaining because they feel like if it wasn't for wholesalers, they can get more listeners. So don't market properties that you don't have under contract. Do not market a property for sale. Market your contract being for sale. And the reason why is because you're brokering deals, which is a no-no. If you're saying, hey, I got this property for sale and you don't have no vested interest in it, such as a deed or some type of ownership, you can easily get a realtor saying, hey, I could have had that listing and this person is taking away money from us. And then do not provide exact repair estimates. The number one reason why people make mistakes in this business is because they provide exact repair estimates. As a fix and flipper myself, we all have certain costs. We get things cheaper, higher. We have different types of financing we use. All of that stuff affects the bottom line, what an investor can pay for it, right? And then once you do get a deal, this is the number one mistake I see a lot of people make. They stop marketing it and taking backup offers. Never stop marketing your property. Continue to take backup offers in case your buyers don't perform. So the main paid marketing channels we use as a company is cold calling, RVM. We don't use PPC, to be honest with you, and we don't use bandit signs. But them the main paid marketing channels at my company in particular use cold calling, RVM, and SMS. So here's some free marketing channels. I talk to a lot of people that are just trying to get started, and they like, hey, money is an obstacle. You can do driving for dollars, aka D for deal. You can go on for sale by owners and call every single person who have a property and say, have you ever thought about taking a cash offer on your property? Give them an offer. You can go on Zillow, do the same thing. Have you ever thought about not leasing your property, but actually taking a cash offer? Same thing with Craigslist. Yes, people might cuss you out, call you stupid, dumbass, get off my phone. But if enough conversations happen, you're going to find a perfect seller that wants to sell a property. So our call process. Sorry if I'm going through too fast. I'm just trying to catch up on time so we can make sure our next speaker get their fair time slot. Our call process, the first thing we do, we send out a text. Second thing we do a live cold call. And then the third thing we do is we do another follow-up text or email. And then you consistently roll that over and over again until you get somebody on the phone. We never throw away our list. If you are wondering how many times we change our list out, we keep our same list, and we use PropStream List Automated to monitor our list. And then any properties that sell, it automatically takes off. Our lead manager goes inside and they do a monthly audit on our hot list, and then our big broad list, we do it quarterly. So the 5 things you need to effectively cold call, right? You need a list. A list, without a list, you really can't cold call or run an effective wholesaling operation. Even if you cold call an SMS or you decide to direct mail, you still need a list because you need to know who you're mailing to. So a good quality list, pre-foreclosures, PFC, high equity and tax delinquents is some of the top favorable lists to get you going. We need a dialer. Mojo works especially, the triple line dialer, call tools as well. A CRM, some type of Podio. We offer a custom built CRM, Freedom Solve or My REI Pro. My REI Pro is not as robust. Your next bet after Podio is Freedom Solve because it has the automation you need to create a well-oiled machine. A HIP, we call it HIP, a home information provider. I like PropStream because literally now PropStream got the app. So if I want to learn more about a property, I can go boop, 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 and it tells me everything right there on my phone. No more calling relatives, no more kissing people's ass. I literally got everything I need right there on my phone. And then you just need to have good scripts and rebuttals. It's good to have, right? If you come to us as a client, we provide all of that stuff for you, the scripts and the rebuttals. So here's some lists you should call. Write this down on screenshot or take a picture. High equity is one of my favorite lists. And here's why high equity is one of my favorite lists. High equity is one of my favorite lists because all the other lists should go back to high equity. It should have some type of equity in it. Pre-foreclosure, you should be pulling pre-foreclosure with high equity unless you're ready to take on some creative strategies or some, no money down strategies by doing creative finance and lease option, master lease option, subject to wrap mortgages, things of that sort. Tax delinquent is a very good list. I found that if you go directly to the county to get it, it's more robust. PropStream has tax delinquents, but PropStream get their information from the counties and the data provider. So sometimes the information is not as fresh as going straight to the counties. The vacant list is awesome, but guys, remember when you're targeting a vacant list, it doesn't mean the house is actually vacant. It just means that the postal courier who runs the route for that neighborhood finds that they having a hard time to deliver the mail. So that's when the USPS put that property inside a database called the vacant database. It doesn't mean it could be people living there. It just means, it's somebody living in the house, and then maybe the postal courier don't get out the truck on that route. They ride up beside the mailbox and put the mail in the mailbox. Well, guess what? Maybe somebody hit the mailbox and knocked it over, and the homeowner never decided to put up a mailbox. So instead of the postmaster getting out the truck and going straight to the house and dropping the mail on the step, they say, fuck that. This house is undeliverable, which puts them on a vacant. It don't mean it's vacant. So be really particular about your data, because sometimes data can mislead you because there's so many moving parts to data. Bad credit. We get our bad credit list from unlimitedmailinglist.com. Unlimited mailing list with an S.com. And the reason why we do the bad credit, because that helps us create that perfect seller profile, ladies and gentlemen. PropStream is not giving us the age of the seller. PropStream is not giving us the credit range of the seller. PropStream is not giving us the network or the income. So we need to find that data elsewhere and then take that data, bring it over to PropStream, and compare the records. That's how we create a hyper list. A 5-year balloon and a 5-year arm. PropStream used to get this out. I've been pulling nail and teeth to try to get them to put that back as a filter. But if you can create a 5-year arm and 5-year balloon and then stack it with a bad credit and high equity, oh my God, you got your perfect seller, because they got to do something in a few years with their property. And if they got bad credit, how they going to refinance? You know what I mean? Long-term owners, we realize people who sell their houses, who had their houses 8 years or more, typically are more inclined to sell their properties. And then the utility shut off. We get that from PropStream. Some of the counties don't provide this information, so don't be upset and mad. What do Tony want? Don't be upset. Don't be upset and mad when things don't go your way if you look into PropStream. So our 100% virtual model, it changed a little bit, but it's still the same. I just didn't want to make it too complex for you guys, because if I did, then you're going to feel like you got to go out and hire 10 people. That's not the case. But for me to be able to run an operation without my day-to-day involvement, this is what I need: a COO, my operations manager, a lead miner, a person who just pull records. A lead managers mean they just pulling records from the county, they pulling records from PropStream, they pulling records from Unlimited Mailing List. They are running your virtual Drive for Dollar campaign. That's a lead man. Project manager is basically a person who's responsible for any outstanding projects inside of your operation, whether it's skip tracing, typing up reports, things of that sort. Acquisition associate is basically what we call cold callers, but we call them acquisition associates. So they're the people that's warming up the seller, calling the people to see if they're motivated. Then we have an acquisition manager and a disposition manager. They work hand in hand to lock up the deal and to sell the deal as quickly as possible. Take a screenshot, take a picture if you need it. Sorry, guys, I'm moving too fast. I can't even see the comments, so just bear with me. If you're asking questions, we'll get to the questions as soon as I finish this presentation. So your key lead generation resources on call tools, you can get a $3 dollars. It's going to cost you about $100 a month utilizing my affiliate code. If you don't have an affiliate code, they're going to charge you $120 plus like $100 activation fee. They waive the activation fee and they give you $20 off a month if you sign up under my affiliate code. You can reach up to about 700 people a day, 5 days a week, roughly around 14,000 dials a month. That don't mean calls, just dials. The system dialed it. PropStream, we use it for stacking leads, right? You get 10,000 leads a month. We even pull all types of combo lists, like I just said earlier. The price is $97 a month. They give you a 7-day free trial. Go to reigiveadata.com right now, sign up so you can start utilizing PropStream. Burton from PropStream is coming on. He's going to show you some ninja shit that I never seen before. Because PropStream is doing massive updates that's going to put you ahead of all the competition just because of the stuff that he's exclusively showing with us as a group. RVMs, we about to get back to using RVMs. We stopped for a while, but we feel good about what we're trying to head into next year. So Stratix is definitely a good place to go if you need RVMs. Also, there's a bunch of other different places. If you need pay-as-you-go RVMs, slide broadcast. If you need a more robust system, the best thing out right now is REI. Shout out to REI. They have a really robust RVM system because it was designed by a developer by the name of Justin. He's really smart. And if you want to do SMS, ladies and gentlemen, what we do a lot of texting. We text maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people a day on average. We use the Smarter Contact. It's been the best software so far. We don't use every software on the market. And honestly, the Smarter Contact really has a proprietary algorithm they built. They have multiple phone carriers they work with. So if one phone carrier decides to cut them off, they can click one button and continue to run their business. Cash buyer data feed. We use that to locate cash buyers instantly. So it's around $250, but it's for the entire USA. So if you're trying to run a virtual operation, you need this information because at the end of the day, you want to know who's buying what, when, where, and how immediately right down the spot. So you can pull that, download it, send it over to your lead manager, let them skip trace it, and then your disposition manager call them up to warm them up to see if they want anything you have currently on the contract. And then we use Dialpad. Dialpad is another phone line service we use to forward our call tools and all of our marketing campaigns to that Dialpad. So, this is some stuff how we process our leads. Basically, a hot lead come in, somebody selling within 90 days. The VAs, they submit the form in Podio. And then, if they call, the acquisition people call, they can't get nobody on the phone. They just set a task reminder to follow up. Or they click a button inside our Podio. I can't sleep for nobody's Podio. The system automatically does the follow up. The warm lead, they set a follow up in Mojo Call Tools, and literally they keep doing that, and then they submit that to Podio, and then our acquisition people follow up with them as well. So here's some reports, especially with our Podio system that I go to my desk every day. We use the old pictures just because what's the point of updating? It's just an example to show you exactly how you should structure your stuff and how you should run your business. Then some of the KPIs that we like to track is the number of calls, daily, weekly, and monthly. The number of hot leads, right? Owners looking to sell within 90 days or less. That's our definition of hot leads. And the number of contracts. We like to see at least an 8 to 10% contact rate. Sometimes you get to 13 or 14% when it's a fresh list, but as you hit the list consistently, it's going to fade back to around 8 to 10. 10 is ideal. 8 is okay. Anything less than 8, you should start worrying. And the number of appointments, that's really important to me because we want to see how many chances that our acquisition people had to close somebody based off the number of appointments they made. So let's do sales by the stats. 80% of sales requires 5 follow-up calls after the meeting, right? And what I mean by that is even after you talk to a person, they say, yeah, I want to sell. I'm ready to sell next week. To get them back on the phone just to make an appointment with the acquisition people, it might take you 5 follow-up calls, right? 44% of the people, they're going to give up after the first call. So half of everybody on this conference, if they was cold calling, would literally not follow up for a second time. So this is a report where it shows you the total calls made, right, which is 1,291. The total contacts made, which is 187, equals a 14% contact rate. You want to be able to see these type of reports. This report was particularly pulled from Mojo. Call Tools report is not as easy to read. It's a little confusing, but you can create custom templates like we do to really understand this because I like the Mojo reports better than the Call Tools reports. So when you're going through your podio and stuff like that, you want to make sure that your VAs and your team is taking really good notes, that there's a lead history, and there have really been details. As you see the lead history, talking about the seller, she's asking $10K for it. She inherited the property from a deceased mother, which she cannot keep up with. The property needs repairs and maintenance. She said that someone in Charleston is already interested to buy the property, but she hasn't closed the deal because the title needs to be transferred to her name first. The house needs major repairs, the reason why she's selling for $10K. So as an acquisition person, I already got the story written out in my head of what's what. She inherited the house, so there's no really emotional attachment to it, right? Her mom died. So we need to be a little careful about how we approach the conversation, because we don't know how old this is or how new this is in her head, right? And then we know that the property is in Charleston. We know that there's other people been calling her, so it's already on their radar. She haven't closed it yet because the paperwork haven't transferred to her. So you can offer a solution by referring her to a good title attorney, estate attorney, whatever they need to close this deal. And she just only wants $10K for it. So we got to figure out why $10K. Out of all the numbers in the world, Miss Seller, why $10K? So we talk about that stuff in our acquisition training. If you're interested in acquisition training, do me a favor and go to your login and go to the help desk and say, I'm interested in acquisition training, and we'll get you signed up. So you want to create a schedule. Like I said, this is all example purposes. You want to create a high-level schedule where you know where people at by time blocking, right? 12, 6, 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we do RVMs, debrief, follow-up, calls, and SMS. 6 o'clock, they do a little admin work, and then 7 o'clock, they close out the shift. They replying to RVMs, SMS, things like that. The reason why we set our schedule up like this, ladies and gentlemen, is because we want to know what people are at any given time in the shift. So when I log into my hub staff, I know exactly what my team is doing by following that schedule. Now, sometimes some things might get in the way of stuff, but, that's when they justify it and tell you why. But at least you know exactly where they're supposed to be. And we try our best to give our team weekends off. So if you notice, most people on the team, one person usually got to work a Saturday just to fill that shift in, just in case the sellers call back or, some stuff pop off. We at least got somebody on the shift to be able to handle that stuff. But other than that, most of the team is off. So once you pass that 3 people threshold or 2 people threshold, you can start rotating Saturdays. If you got 2 people, then they swap from every other Saturday. If you got 3 people, then they do once a month a bid, things like that. So we talk about the VAs because I'm really known for the VAs. Each VA undergoes 2 weeks of training. It's paid, right? They learn the rebuttals, the scripts, expectations, the organizational leads, setting appointments, and follow-up. That's our core curriculum. And we also record every inbound, outbound call and randomly listen to the calls for quality. So you want to make sure you just picking any call, this random-ass call, and what you're looking for is consistency. You want to make sure that it's consistency. You want to make sure it's consistency in what you're doing. So like I said, the first one, SMS, RVMs. The second one, call prospect. And then the third one, you do another follow-up. If you're in multiple markets, make sure that you are picking days where you're staying consistent, right? And you need to have a plan on how to execute your cold calling campaign. This is the first step in implementation. Here's a sample of the lead flow. You don't have to be exactly like this. If you're calling, say for example, you might not even be in multiple states. You might be in multiple zip codes or cities. Well, break down the days of the week by the zip code and city and by the type of list. So Mondays, it might be DC RVM this Monday. Next Monday, it might be DC pre-foreclosure. The following Monday, it might be DC high equity. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you're able to provide consistency to your marketing campaigns. So you hear me talk about this stuff a lot of times, but here's some hardcore stats. It's going to take you between 8 to 12 offers to get one contract. You know what I mean? 8 to 12 offers to get one contract. You must cold call at least 500 people a day, and 5 to 8 follow-ups before the appointment. So like I said earlier, it's going to take you about 5 to 8 times before you get the appointment. RVM has a 10% response rate. Texting, I think, got maybe a 20% response rate. It depends on the quality of your leads. And cold calling is less than all of it. So remember this. You got to do 8 to 12 offers to get one contract, and 50% of all contracts don't make it to the closing table. So you might have to do 24 offers to secure a deal to make it sure it makes it to the closing table based on a value, being consistent with value. So here's a new deal processing. When you get a new deal, ladies and gentlemen, just verify the contract. Upload the contract to Dropbox and Podio, and make sure that all the contract is signed. Make sure you check PropStream. If it's 2 owners of records in PropStream, make sure you put both the owners of record on the contract and make sure both of them sign. Send a contract to the title company. Become more informed about the deal. Read all the details and discuss it with the acquisition people, right? You want to see, even if you're not running acquisitions, you should at least know what deals you got coming in, what's it worth, and how long you think it's going to take you to sell it. And then list all the missing pieces to ask the homeowner in the CRM. So is there certain things missing? You want to get that from the CRM, because at the end of the day, if you know you need XYZ paperwork, don't let the title company blow your deal up. Don't let the title company fuck your money up. Be proactive and get ahead of that stuff. So if you got a property that's tenant occupied, make sure that they notify the tenant, right? How long do they need to move? You need to know this stuff. How much are they paying in rent? How long they live there? And what's your relationship? Because when you have a cash buyer, they're going to ask you these same questions, and you instantly want to be able to give them an answer without saying, hold on, give me an hour, I'll call you back. You want to be on point. You want to build a file. So if you're working with LAX, I got one client that's signed up with me for Business in a Box. We're going to help them create a company that focuses on buying LAX and selling them via seller finance. So I'm thrilled to help him do that. You want to make sure you find out that is it city sewage or septic? Was there property on it before? If yes, how long ago did it burn down or did it get torn down? Are there utilities already in place? Is the power line there? Is there utilities ran underground or above ground? You know what I mean? You want to find that stuff out. Or just simply ask if it's wall line. And by any chance, if elevation of the property is known, that would be great. So if you know that there's some type of elevation of the property, you want to find that out. And are there any plans to build on the property? You want to make sure that if they did have plans or they went to the city and get plans, that you can get a copy of it. That will really entice an investor if they already have approved plans ready to go. And if they have a survey, and the survey basically shows you the property, the boundaries on the property, if there's any utilities or anything running underneath the property. So you want to go into a new market to generate cash buyers. The easiest way to do it is go to Facebook, add yourself to every Facebook. Say you got a good deal, put your email in there and call them or email them about it. You can post on Craigslist, which we don't do anymore. One of the things we do is work with realtors, and we ask them to pull us a list of realtors who represented cash buyers in the last 6 months. And we literally blast our deal out to the realtors, and they'll bring that same buyer back because they know they're going to get the back end listening. And you can do this really easily. And then our bread and butter is cash buyer database. It's one of the most robust cash buyer databases on the market. Get that if you don't have it. I'm telling you, a lot of the people I work with, they literally use that software, and their disposition is really pumping just because of cash buyer data feed. So I'm not going to go into details with this, but just take a screenshot because it's a mind map, and I definitely don't want to confuse you. But in our acquisition class, we do cover this in a whole lot of details. So this is one of the sites that we go to when we order pictures, BPO Photo Flow. Literally, when you get a deal on a contract, and we're going to talk about this in our disposition training starting Monday. You literally go to the site and you click on the $24 one that says require appointment. Enter your exterior BPO. And literally for $24, they're going to send you like 80 pictures. And then you just put your information in there, right? And they're going to call you, or usually we put the seller's information in there because we want them to act like they're the inspector. And they're going to call you and set up a time to come take the pictures. So here's some KPI measurements that you can kind of like measure for your business. Total 30-day pipeline revenue. You want to see how much revenue that you have. Total revenue for the week. How much deals you got currently on the contract that's supposed to close this week. total revenue projected to close next week, the number of deals closed last week, the number of deals closing this week, the number of leads for the week, the number of people spoken to, the number of offers sent out, the number of contracts emailed, right? The number of appointments for the week, the number of offers for the week, obviously, and the contract value, how much all the offers cost. And then the weekly marketing dollars spent. That might just be how much you spent for your VAs and your softwares and any other miscellaneous things. And you want to take that, add it up for the monthly, and divide it by how many weeks that you got in a month, and that tell you how much weekly your marketing cost is. And here's a rule of thumb really quickly. When you're doing evaluations, especially if you're trying to find a rehab cost, $85 a square foot for houses that need complete teardowns or full guts. Houses that don't need a full gut, but they definitely need upgraded kitchens, bathrooms, and cabinets and things like that, and carpet and new fixtures, $45 a square foot. And for houses that can potentially just be rental properties and in smaller markets, $25